Hello, everybody. This is Gary. Today is Friday, April 21st, 2023. It is 3:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States in Rochester, New York, and this is my Coping with Schizophrenia blog entry for today. Today, I'm not doing too bad. I did my physical therapy and walking exercises. I did some work on my computer. I do consumer surveys to earn extra money. I meditated twice today, and I will meditate later tonight before I go to bed. It helps with anxiety and insomnia. My paranoia is not that bad. My delusions are not that bad today. My auditory hallucinations are at a very bare minimum. Depression and anxiety is not too bad today. Today is Friday, so I believe next Monday or Tuesday I will be seeing my psychotherapist, and a day or two after that I will be seeing my primary care provider. We're going to go over some of the findings that the pulmonary specialist had run some tests on me. We did a CAT scan of my lungs, and we also did a breathing test where I had to breathe into a machine because I apparently do have pulmonary fibrosis, but it's not very advanced. It's not cancer. That's not what I mean. Pulmonary fibrosis is when scar tissue starts to develop in the lungs. Sometimes they know the cause, like irritants from a job, sawdust, chemicals, that kind of thing. Other times they don't know what the cause of the irritation is, but whatever the irritation is, scar tissue develops in the lungs, and it makes it more difficult for the lungs to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide efficiently, making me get out of breath very easily today. I did go out for a walk today, and I also went to the store, and I did have to stop and rest a couple of times because I was really out of breath, and I was just walking at a normal pace. It's very easy for me to get out of breath and get very dizzy, and I have to sit down on a bench or whatever is available to sit down on because I get out of breath very easily. So I'll be talking to my primary care provider about that next week, because I do have pulmonary fibrosis. But the pulmonary specialist, my point is that they're not overly concerned about how advanced the pulmonary fibrosis is. I'm not going to die in 3 to 6 years. That's often a timeline you'll see in online information about pulmonary fibrosis. People die in 3 to 6 years after the first diagnosis, and that's simply not always the case. Yes, there are more severe cases of pulmonary fibrosis that require people to have oxygen, which I don't need, or lung transplants, which I don't need, and medications available to treat it, which I don't need, and a biopsy was unnecessary according to the pulmonary specialist. He's just not overly concerned about my pulmonary fibrosis at this point because it's not life-threatening, and I'm going to see him again in another 3 or 4 months when they contact me to schedule an appointment and do another breathing test. So yes, definitely my lungs are weaker than they should be, and I get out of breath very easily, but it doesn't appear to be life-threatening. That's not directly related to my schizophrenia, but it does have an effect on my mental health just because it's kind of stressful to try to go out for a daily walk and then get very, very out of breath very easily. Of course, I am overweight. I am pre-diabetic, which means I have high blood sugar, but not quite enough to qualify me as being diabetic. So that's obviously another reason I probably get out of breath as well, is that I'm overweight by at least 30 pounds. I'm 5'9", I weigh 230 pounds. I should be closer to 200 pounds, and I definitely need to watch my diet and lose weight. My primary care doctor didn't want to add medication to control my blood sugar because she wants me to control it through diet, and I have high cholesterol. At least I did my last blood test, and my primary care wants me to control that by going through dietary controls instead of medications. I am on 3 blood pressure medications, and my blood pressure seems to be doing very well because the last time I saw my psychiatrist, the nurse took my blood pressure and it was in actually pretty good condition. It was like 112 over 80. Um, so that doesn't seem to be too bad. Part of the fact that I'm overweight, like a lot of people, is that when I take my antipsychotic medications, specifically the Seroquel, that increases my appetite. I tend to overeat and I gain weight. That's true for a lot of people with schizophrenia. That's true for a lot of people who take Seroquel and other antipsychotic medications. I'm also on Zyprexa, which is an antipsychotic medication, um, and both can increase appetite and weight gain. I'm not saying that's an excuse for me being overweight. I still have the ability to exercise, and I still have the ability to control my diet. I just haven't done it yet, and I need to. So there's not much else to report on other than that. I did get a couple of requests from people asking what are my hobbies and interests. I like to go for walks every day. I meditate 3 times a day. That helps with my anxiety. I like to exercise as much as I can to the point where I get out of breath, and then I usually stop. I do have a indoor stationary bike I use when the weather outside is really crappy and I still want to exercise. I exercise on my exercise bike. It's a stationary bike. I do have a regular bicycle. I just don't use it over the winter. And in Rochester, New York, winter's pretty much over with. It's April. It may or may not snow again, but winter's coming to an end, and I'll probably be taking my bike out for exercise. It's actually easier to ride my bike than it is to walk because I had knee surgery last year, and it hurts to walk and actually hurts less to ride my bike. But beyond that, I listen to music. I listen to a lot of heavy metal music. I grew up in the 1980s. That's the music I grew up listening to. When I want to calm down, I'll listen to meditation. When I want to listen to rock, I'll listen to hard rock. Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Janis Joplin, all those stars from the 70s and 80s and the 60s to some extent. Um, so my hobbies and interests include music, exercise, um, and meditation, just to name a couple. There are others, but like, comment, share, subscribe.